sure if it's the player. I'm not sure if it's the basketball. He's upset about something, Steve. He's going bananas there.
Well, it's just hammer time, period. We don't know who it's on, but it's on somebody. Shane Heal always gives us that excitement. We're tied up at 45.
Unlike an airline, we don't operate out of airports. We don't employ flight captains or crews. We don't own any planes. And we don't play favorites as to who you should fly with. No, our role is to be totally even-handed and present the facts on your many airline choices to weigh up properly and book what's best for you. Webjet.com.au.
Shane Heal starting to get emotional in here. I was wondering when we're going to start to see Shane Heal bringing that tude with him, that attitude, that swagger. And he wants his Sydney Kings to play with the personality that he did and with the pride. And right now, they need a little of that Shane Heal determination as the Gold Coast Blaze have really started to turn the screws on the defensive end.
I think more than any, well, as much as any of what you say, Steve, they need the ability of a ball handler, of his ability to bring the ball up the floor, because the pressure is telling. The Blaze are starting to get Kings turning this thing over. It's really helping them get back into the game, and in fact, they've got a chance to take the lead for the first time in a long time.
De Leon handling the ball, looking for a teammate, finds Petrie. Hudson on a low steal, shoots it over the top of Giants.
There's your lead, new leader, Steve. 47-45 to the Blaze, and they really looked more active in this first 5 minutes of the third quarter.
Martin looking a little hesitant. Imagine with his floater, he is still on song as Ben Magin takes his total to 16 on 8 of 14 shooting.
What an impressive combo guard Magin is. I mean, he's really a two-man in a one-man's body. Really good scoring mentality to that guy.
Hudson. Petrie goes to the open area in the zone, and he delivers the medium-range jump shot, giving the Blaze the 2-point lead.
Petrie now up to 13 points, Steve, and I think, you know, he's picking up some of the slack that Worthington's had to give up because of his foul situation sitting on the bench there.
Grant with a tough shot, floating and going to the right. Kadee races it up to Petrie, who's been hot outside the three-point line. He did not hesitate. Anthony Petrie takes his total to 19.
I think he's got 16, Steve, but hang around because he'll probably shoot another three within a few seconds. He just, every time he shoots the ball right now, it looks sweet.
Get my eyes checked. John spins. Some pretty good footwork. He's fouled. Joey Wright doesn't like the call. I'm not quite sure what he doesn't like, whether it was a walk or a foul call.
Well, yeah, to me it was a pretty clear foul, but obviously advocating for his team. And I think, you know, Joey's an interesting one, Steve, because when his teams get aggressive defensively, which we've seen in this 5-minute period, the referees, I'm convinced, and I don't mean this in a bad way, as we see Johns missed the first one, they often get caught up in it as well. And you see it in college basketball, you see it in the NBA. The aggressive team often is favored in the sense that, you know, they really dictate the play. And I think Joey wants this roll on still. He wants this going. He wants things happening defensively, and a foul takes that momentum away.
Kings with the offensive rebound, get it back to Anatoly Bose. And he's fouled at the three-point line. That's one thing he's good at. If your hands are in there, he rips it through.
I think you're going to find Shane Heal and Anatoly Bose are very stricken by this call because they felt that Bose was shooting the ball. Bose is motioning right now, as you see, that he was shooting the three. The referee saying you were just ripping it through, but to me, he was on the way up.
He's shooting. That's not good. You know, have some kind of consistency. That was a foul on Friday night. The same call.
Yep.
All we want is to see the referees call it the same around the country on any given night.
I must admit that was a really it was a really bad miss, Steve, because Bowes' intent the whole time was to shoot it, and they really got bailed out there, the Gold Coast Blaze, and only had to concede 1 free throw from 2, and it was only because they were in the bonus.
You know, hold a meeting. Discuss the call. That's really irritating. Petrie to Golding. His three-point shot is long. Petrie on the glass. He's called for over the back.
Well, that's a confusing one as well, and I don't think this is the finest couple of minutes here, refereeing-wise, but nevertheless, they've called one. We're going to see it on the replay. I think, well, I think they've got him on the reactionary elbow there, Steve, and he's whacked it. Is that Magin that's got it in the face again?
Yeah. This
guy's going to have a mask on before the end of the game. He's going to look like Richard Hamilton.
He might want to lead into the plays with his hands instead of his grill.
He's like Jonathan Brown in the AFL right now. He's just copping it in the face everywhere he goes, but he's gone to the line and he's been cool enough to hit one. And they're hanging around. They're a couple down if he hits this free throw. And you know, their endeavor's great. It's just that you start to get the feeling that the Blaze are just, you know, pegging away, getting things done.
Kings missing opportunities at the foul line. Just 5 of 17 from the foul line. Well, a lot of those are Graham Dan's misses. De Leon with his jump shot, that never looked like this.
Steve, you make a great point. Whoever misses they are, doesn't really matter. That's killed them right now. That's 12 free throws that they've missed. Even if you hit 6 of them, you're ahead in this game.
Grant back to Luke Martin, and that's an offensive foul on Joey Grant. Joey Wright giving him a little of assistance on that call.
There was 4 referees. One was the coach of the Blaze, and the other 3 were watching him make the call. But it was right. It was off the ball movement, and a player was taken out of the play illegally. But this thing's getting tight, Steve. It's great to watch right now. It's not a free-flowing game, but the intensity is fantastic, and it's a case of can the Kings hang around in this one to make it close at the end.
That's another blocking call on the screen.
There won't be 2 free throws because it's team control issue. The Blaze were shooting the ball at the time, so the Sydney Kings will take it out. That may not be a bad thing. They don't get to go to the line and rack up a possible miss. They're not shooting them well from there.
You get another look at that one on the replay. Luke Martin turns the corner. He's still got the handle. And he shoots it right to Stephen Hoare. I think he's trying to give it up before they call travel on it.
I think so, too.
It looked awkward,
to say the least.
I've had a referee say that to me before.
It looked awkward.
He blew the whistle. Called it travel. I said, but I didn't travel. He said it just looked ugly.
Now that's not ugly, Steve. What a fantastic piece of body control, if nothing else, by Adrice. Too hard to guard De Leon. I mean, he's really just shaken Edie around and drawn the foul at the last moment. He's really pumped up. He's trying to give some lift to this squad, Steve. And you know, hits this free throw here, Steve, and they're up to 8. It leads out to 8, so it's been quite a turnaround this quarter.
I love that reaction, too. That's a big shot. That is a big shot, a big play, and it's really swung the game. Gold Coast has scored the last 5. They can sense that Sydney's body language is starting to dip. Big play.
Steve, it was only 7 minutes ago that the Kings were up 6 in this game. That's a 14-point turnaround in 7 minutes, and there's an offensive foul that comes as a result of the Kings just forcing things a little bit more. So what an amazing amount of fouls called in this quarter. But you get the feeling that every play that goes by, the Blaze are feeling more comfortable about this one.
They sure are. They just have really turned up the heat defensively, and Sydney have not been able to handle it.
It's been interesting because fatigue looked like it was a factor in the first half, but they look the more sprightly unit out here right now.
Golding from the corner. That's long. Stephen Hoare just taps it.
Wow. Was that not backcourt?
It looked like a controlled tap to me. De Leon. Yeah, he's got the tongue out, got the swagger going. De Leon with the last 6 points for the Gold Coast Blaze, and they've scored the last 8. You could sense it. Magin for 3, trying to get an equalizer. Will Hudson's got a foot out of bounds.
Well, great endeavor showed by both Madgen and Hudson. And for the first time tonight that I can remember, an open shot from Madgen hasn't fallen. And that might be just indicative of where we are in this game. You can't get all that falling your way all the time. You know, you look at the rebound count, Steve. The Sydney Kings, by my reckoning, have only had 2 rebounds. In fact, 1 rebound, according to my stats, in the quarter, to 10 for the Blaze.
And it all started with them not being able to handle the extended pressure. And it's turned into them not being able to get a good shot off as Bose shoots over the top of Jason Kadee, comes up short. Kadee with the Jets throws it upstairs to Stephen Hoare. Gold Coast Blaze on a 10-0 run.
I tell you, Steve, you can say what you want about Steve Hoare. He may not be quick, may not jump a lot, but he's smart. And he got that thing up before there was any chance of the defense arriving.
Martin trying to silence the crowd.
Well, Jason Kadee, I like Jason Kadee, Steve. I think, you know, he puts himself in positions even when he's horribly outsized. He's fearless, you know, and it was a good example of it there, just putting himself in the right place at the right time.
De Leon for 3. Yes. Adrice De Leon.
Oh, Houston, we have a problem. And his name is Adrice De Leon. He is going crazy here, Steve, in this quarter. Wow.
He is pumped up, and why not? Adrice De Leon takes his total to 19 points as the Gold Coast Blaze go on a 13-0 run and break this thing wide open. 65-49 over the Sydney Kings, who have had no answers for the Gold Coast Blaze pressure.
Steve, this is a staggering stat I've not seen. You talk about runs in scoring. What about a run in rebounding? What about the fact that we've got 24 each on the boards, and we talked about it at halftime. The Sydney Kings held a 9-point rebound advantage, I'm sorry. We're going to have a look at Adrice De Leon.
Yeah, why not?
Can't wait to see this, Steve.
And this is where he just creates space. Luke Cooper just giving him way too much room, but you have to because he's so quick and can turn the corner and make plays like that as he forces Martin Itty to cause the foul. And then in rhythm, that was automatic outside the three-point line, got the tongue out. And then his second one, that one rolls in. And he's got the Jordan tongue out on that one.
He's been pumping himself up and trying to get that energy going, and it's worked a treat for the Gold Coast Blaze. Steve, sometimes you're just playing wrong. I thought when they recruited De Leon, not because of who they recruited, but the fact that they recruited a small guard, I thought they may have made a mistake. I thought they needed a bigger import in one of those spots, but it's come off. They obviously saw what they needed there, and he is tough. He's just something that the league doesn't have a lot of.
It's another offensive foul, a blocking foul on the high ball screen. We've seen a number of those from both teams tonight.
Yeah,
they're really tighten up on that one.
It's almost like it's a point of emphasis tonight for the referees. Whether that's the case or not, I'm not sure. We'd have to have a chat to them afterwards or whatever. But it's not a bad thing, but they certainly have called a ton of them.
At some point, the players have to adjust to how they're calling the game.
Absolutely.
De Leon, not in rhythm. And he just rim out.
Had too long to think about it.
Madgen. Good defense by Jason Kadee to make him shoot a tough shot, but even a better shot by Ben Madgen, who takes his total to 19. Kadee is short.
Wow.
That looked like it was a carry. That looked ugly the whole time. It'll go back to the Sydney Kings.
Nothing about that play was quite there for the Kings, but fortunately they've held on to it.
That around the back dribble, it started at about the three-point line and finished at the other three-point line. Bose finds Luke Martin with his foot on the line, and Will Hudson.
Welcome to the blooper tape for the last 90 seconds. It's just been one of those little patches where nothing's working for either team. But by and large, Steve, I know we're going to talk about it at the quarter break, but by and large, what a quarter by the Gold Coast Blaze to be 6 down and find themselves 14 up. That'd be a 20-point turnaround in a quarter.
Madgen is given a gift, catches the ball on the baseline out of bounds. Talk about a brain freeze.
Well, the assists, yeah, sorry, Steve, the assists are just day and night for the Blaze.
Turnovers now, the Sydney Kings up to 16. Even though they worked on it all week, or last couple of days anyway. Nice hesitation. Grant Dan just grabbed De Leon. Now, if that's 2 shots, and it is. Now, ANZBallaz can't get 2, and he fouls in there.
Yep.
Takes a step. It is, to me, that is a shooting foul.
Yep. Now, did they call that 2, or is it just because they're in the bonus? I'm not sure. They are in the bonus, but I think you're right, though. I think they called it as a shooting foul, and you know, as you say, I mean, that was a miss. There's no doubt by Bose earlier. That was a miss. He was shooting with 3 there. It's about the first thing he's missed for the last 20 minutes. Dries De Leon. Well, he did miss the open 3, and he had way too long to think about it. He's an instinctive player. Gives us a pair of misses. Going to get a second one on that one, Steve. And everything's just sort of falling the way of the Blaze at the moment. Kings are making some fundamental mistakes here. I think is there a query you do with the seconds on the clock, Steve? I think Shane Heal's advocating and trying to prosecute his case for another second, which is important for them offensively as they turn it around. I think what happened is when that ball hit the rim, they took a second off, assuming play was live, but of course the Sydney Kings had broken the play.
On a made, though, doesn't a made free throw or a missed free throw.
But the ball's dead right now because it's as if that free throw didn't happen there, so it should retract it a second.
I mean, you can see how the scorer's bench could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're anticipating live play.
Mostly volunteers doing that, just do an amazing job all around the country.
Oh, absolutely. They're very, very professional in the way they do it. So here's their last shot, the Kings.
Madgen will get a good look at the three-point line, or a long way outside it, but it was all the Gold Coast Blaze in the third quarter as they take a commanding 13-point lead. With 1 quarter to play, 66, just think that's going to dry up. But the way they've played, they've got a game plan, they've played with poise, and they've taken high percentage shots, and they've shot them with confidence.
Absolutely. I mean, you just, as you said, you don't see it coming, but sometimes the absence of one player who's a big focal point causes everyone else to say, hey, it's on me tonight, not just the big fella.
Lots of contributors for Sydney here in the first half, and you know the Gold Coast is going to come out with some intensity here in the third, change this thing around. Madgen looking for Grant on the seal.
Well, a pretty promising start for the Kings there, Steve, on that set, because they showed some patience. They worked the ball around, and in the dying seconds of the shot clock, they were able to manufacture something. So they've got a chance to get something good going.
Mark Worthington called for the foul. Bose looked like he traveled. Finds Grant. He goes upstairs for the jam. And that, my friends, is a good start for Sydney.
Well, they're out to an 8-point lead. So, you know, the stadium's probably waiting for the Gold Coast to make their run. But it's hard to make a run while the other team's going away from you.
Petrie at the three-point line. They're trying to post up Worthington. Peach from the three-point line is good. One thing to stand there, but nobody picks him up. He had a toe on the line, so it's only 2. Madgen gets it to Cooper, and he just gets it over the timeline to avoid another 8-second violation in the backcourt. Cooper tries to turn the corner. He's stripped from behind by De Leon. And then Cooper gets a piece of it. And then Worthington smacks Madgen again.
Well, you hear Ray Hunt saying, look, it's pretty obvious you've just smashed him in the face there. And Ben Madgen, that's twice he's been on the wrong end of Mark Worthington, some body part or the other. This time it was the face that got whacked. Last time he hit it, it was basically a side-on collision down underneath the basket earlier. So 2 of Worthington's fouls have come beating up Ben Madgen.
That's a big one, and I know they're deep, but they're down, and Mark Worthington is one of the best at getting them productive points.
Absolutely.
Another turnover by the Sydney Kings. De Leon just giving Cooper the blues. Goulding can't get one in. Petrie with the fall away, that's good. Gold Coast Blaze on the glass. Their effort is really starting to take its toll on Sydney.
They've come out with some energy here, trying to make an early stop or two and you know, get the defense to generate the offense.
Grant throws it right to Graham Dan. His layup is blocked.
Graham Dan, unfortunately, right now, Steve, is a man playing hard, but playing with a lack of confidence. And he's just not backing himself because he's had some misses. His free throws aren't falling. Again, it's not his effort. It's just he's just not quite there at his normal level right now. Great pass, though.
Grant, and he's fouled. 1 second left on the shot clock. Graham Dan with a sweet little scoop.
Yeah, a great play there. So
here we go.
You know, he's found a way on this occasion to get himself into the game, get something productive happening. And for Grant's point of view, hopefully he can make this play work for him by getting a couple from the line and work his way back into this game. He's actually been very good, Steve, I think, with the energy. A couple of huge dunks and the massive block that really ignited Sydney on that run. And I've been impressed with Grant's energy. But actually, Steve, I've been impressed with Sydney's energy across the board. Their energy has been fantastic.
Missed both free throws. And with all those compliments, they're still only up 4. Petrie looked like he walked. Gibson catch and shoot from the corner is short. Grant knocks it out of bounds.
Right in front of the Sydney coaching staff, they've made another call to the Blaze. I think that's the right play. I think Adam Gibson had positioned himself really well. But just on Adam Gibson for one moment, Steve, they need more from him. He only scored 2 in the first half. And I know with this guard rotation where De Leon is handling the ball a lot more, it's taken, you know, Gibbo's out of his rhythm a little bit, but they do need more from him.
Petrie on the rip through. Hard to stay in front of. Baseline out of bounds as Graham Dan is charged with that one, and we're going to have to watch the foul count of various players because the whistle's getting blown quite a bit.
Yeah, well, you've got 3 on the Blaze as a team, including 4 on Worthington, which is a problem for them.
Grant doesn't block out the shooter, and Petrie follows his shot, gets it to Kadee. He loads up at the three-point line. He looks more confident every time he shoots it from long range, and that's another long 2.
Coach killer, toe on the line, and there's been a couple of those for the Blaze, but here's Will Hudson in the open floor getting the energy happening.
Sydney struggling with this pressure. They're holding a 2-point lead, but they are really starting to show some cracks here with this constant pressure of the Blaze, having trouble getting into their offense.
Will Hudson, you know, the more I've seen him, Steve, the more I like him. Now, don't get me wrong. If you were starting a franchise in the NBL right now, I don't think he's your import because you need a lot of points and a lot of rebounds if you don't have the depth of talent. But I think for this Blaze team, he's not a bad acquisition because he does a lot of the grunt work.
De Leon, a couple of hesitations. Shoots a tough shot.
Wow.
Over Luke Cooper. I think it surprised Luke Cooper. I think he thought he had him stopped. We're all tied up at 45. The Blaze have scored the last 8. Sydney, and again, Luke Cooper loses the basketball, but it sticks with Sydney. He's struggling here in the 3rd quarter. He'll go have a seat.
Hey, look at Shane Healy. He's absolutely ripping into someone now. I'm not sure if it's the referee.